Good evening, guys. Tonight's bonus one is discussion E. We are discussing when aging in place stops working. Okay? We are going to discuss that for E tonight. And like I always say, if you have questions, comments, leave them in the live chat below for me, and I will see what I can do about getting you answers for your questions. Okay, so here we go. When aging in place stops working, aging in place has become a national idea. The promise that with enough grab bars, meal deliveries, and family check ins, older adults can remain safely at home. But the truth is far more complicated. Aging in place works beautifully until the day it doesn't. And by the time families realize it's no longer safe, they often already they're often they're often already in crisis. The warning signs rarely arrive with fanfare. They show up as small slips, a missed medication, a fall that could have been worse, a pot left burning on the stove. The home that once offered comfort becomes a maze of hazards. Stairs turn into barriers, bathrooms become dangerous, nights become unpredictable. Families do everything they can to hold the line. They add more hours of care, more check ins, more vigilance. But aging in place is not just about where someone lives, it's about whether the environment, the person, and the support system still fit together. When one piece shifts, the whole arrangement can collapse. The turning point often becomes quietly a hospitalization, a moment of confusion, a caregiver who admits they cannot keep doing this alone. These are not failures of love or effort. They are signals that the care needs have outgrown what a home and family and a family can safely provide. Yet our long-term care system treats these moments as personal problems rather than predictable transitions. We wait for emergencies instead of planning for them. We shame families for considering assisted living or memory care, even when those settings offer more safe, more safety, more supervision. and sometimes more dignity than struggling alone at home. Aging in place should remain an option, but not a mandate, and not a myth. The real measure of success is not how long someone stays in their house, but how well they are supported as their needs change. That requires honest conversations, realistic planning, and a system that offers choices before crisis forces them. Aging in place stops working when the risks outweigh the familiarity. When that moment comes, families don't need judgment, they need options, guidance, and a long-term care system built for realities of aging, not the wasteful thinking about it. Below is a tight executive camber uh, fiscal case for why states must invest in predictable long-term care LTC transitions, not just aging in place. It's structured for decision makers who think in terms of cost, curves, risk 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 exposure, and system performance, and it's written in the polished narrative rich style you prefer. Executive fiscal case why states must invest in long-term care transitions. Core fiscal argument. Aging in place is cost effective only until care needs exceed the capacity of home based services, family caregivers, and the physical environment. When that threshold is crossed, states face higher Medicaid spending, avoidable hospitalizations, and crisis driven institutional placements. That cost far more than planned. Transitions. The fiscal case is straightforward. Investing in early supported transitions saves money. Waiting for a crisis costs money. The hidden cost of aging in place at all costs. Executives often see home based care as the cheaper option, and it is when it works. But when aging in place begins to fail, costs escalate rapidly. Emergency department visits from falls, dehydration, medication errors, hospital admissions for preventable complications. larger lengths of stay due to unsafe discharge, disorientations, or destinations. Rapid Medicaid spend down when families exhaust savings in crisis. Unplanned nursing home placements at the highest reimbursement tier. These events are not random, they are predictable consequences of keeping someone at home after the environment and support system can no longer meet their needs. To the fiscal inflection point. States depend the states spend the most when transitions happen late, chaotically, and through the hospital door. Just give me 1 second, folks. The cost curve looks like this. Stable home care phase, low cost, predictable. Decline phase, raising emergency department visits. Increased home care hours. Caregiver burnout. Crisis phase, hospitalization, rehab, long-term nursing home placement. Medicaid takeover, high ongoing public cost. The fiscal inflection point occurs months before the crisis, when warning signs appear but no transition pathways exist. That is where policy intervention yields the highest return. Why planned transitions cost less? Planned transitions reduce state spending in 3 ways. A. Avoiding high cost hospitalizations. Falls, wandering, and medication errors are among the top drivers of preventable hospital use in older adults. A single fall related hospitalization can cost more than a year of assisted living. Preventing rapid Medicaid spend down, families forced into crisis placements burn through assets quickly. Early planning preserves private pay periods, delaying Medicaid entry. Matching needs to the right level of care. When transitions are planned, individuals enter savings that match their acuity, not the highest cost option available. At 2 a.m., the state fiscal exposure. Executive should view aging in place failures as a budgetary liability. Medicaid nursing home care is one of the largest and fastest growing state expenditures. HCBS wait lists push people into institutions, primarily workforce shortages lead to service gaps that accelerate decline. Housing inaccessibility drives falls and hospitalizations. Without intervention, these pressures compound into higher per capita LTSS spending and greater violatability in Medicaid budgets. High o, high high ROI policy levers. These are interventions with the strongest fiscal return. Strengthen HCBS reliability, predictable hours, reduce hospitalizations. Invest in direct care workforce. Stable staffing prevents service gaps that lead to crisis. Fund home modifications. 3,000 in modifications can prevent 30,000 in hospitalization. Support family caregivers, respite and spend stipends, daily Medicaid entry. Delay Medicaid entry. Create transition pathways, plan moves, reduce high acuity placements. These levers are not just humane, they are fiscally prudent. 6. What executives need to know. Aging in place is not the cheapest option. When it becomes unsafe, crisis-driven transitions are the most expensive pathway into long-term care. Planned transitions reduce hospital use, Medicaid spend down, and institutional costs. States save money when they invest before the crisis, not after. Bottom line, aging in place is fiscally sound only when paired with workforce capacity, home safety, caregiver support, and clear transition pathways. Without these, states pay more, often much more, for worse outcomes. Okay, guys, that is your shows for tonight. I will be back on tomorrow for shows. For now, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.